Welcome back to the Motivated Mind Zone. Glad to have you here. So today we're diving into something pretty specific. It's a powerful commitment, really. Cutting out sugar completely for just 2 weeks.
Yeah, full reset. A 14-day challenge.
Exactly. And look, this isn't about, the latest celebrity diet you see everywhere.
Not at all.
We're not just talking about dropping a few pounds, although, that might
That's often a side effect, but not the core focus here.
This deep dive is for you, the learner. Someone who wants to get under the hood, see the actual measurable changes inside your body, the physiological blueprint, basically.
That's it. People talk about quitting sugar, but they often, they miss the sheer scale of the internal transformation. It's systemic, and it happens fast. Surprisingly fast.
So we're talking rapid change, really.
Oh, absolutely. Our sources, they show that just 14 days, it's actually enough time to fundamentally recalibrate systems that might have been, out of whack for years.
Wow. Seriously. In just 2 weeks.
Seriously. Everything from your brain chemistry right down to, how your internal organs are functioning. Deep stuff.
Okay, so our mission today, then, is to really map that out, lay it all out.
Exactly. A step-by-step roadmap. A comprehensive list, really?
What actually changes? A clear timeline for these 2 weeks.
We're peeling back the layers, showing what happens when you take away the body's, its favorite fuel source.
Favorite, but maybe not its best friend, huh?
Definitely not its best friend. It's incredibly taxing long-term.
Okay, let's unpack this then. What happens? What's the first domino to fall when the body's suddenly deprived of all that sugar?
Well, the first big one, and honestly, often the most satisfying for people, is stabilizing your appetite. Getting rid of those relentless sugar cravings, they just fade.
Ah, the cravings. Okay, let's start there.
Yeah.
Because those can feel impossible to beat sometimes.
Yeah, it really can. But to understand why they stop, we kind of have to understand why they start.
Okay.
It's a cycle, a purely mechanical hormonal cycle. It involves insulin.
Right. I think most people assume, you eat something sugary, the craving goes away. For a bit, at least.
Yeah, that's the common thinking. But the sources we looked at, they say it actually does the opposite.
Really?
How it basically sets you up for more hunger, more cravings, almost right away. It's a feedback loop.
Okay, walk us through that. The mechanics of the spike and crash everyone talks about.
Okay, think of it like this. Like a hormonal roller coaster, right? You eat sugar, especially the refined stuff. Boom, it hits your bloodstream super fast. Massive spike in blood glucose. Your pancreas sees this and panics a little. It floods your system with insulin.
Insulin's job is to get the sugar out of the blood into the cell.
Exactly, storage or energy. But here's the kicker. The insulin response is often way too strong. It overcompensates. It's kind of clumsy, aggressive even.
Okay.
So it clears the sugar out so efficiently, so quickly, that maybe an hour or two later, your blood sugar doesn't just normalize, it drops too low.
Below baseline.
Yeah, way down. That's hypoglycemia, or sometimes called reactive hypoglycemia because it's reacting to the sugar load.
And when blood sugar gets too low?
Yeah.
That's like an alarm bell for the brain, isn't it?
Precisely. The brain interprets that sudden dip as an emergency, like a genuine threat.
Like it's starving.
Exactly. And what does the brain scream for when it thinks it's starving?
The quickest energy source available.
Sugar. Right. So you get this desperate, intense craving, almost uncontrollable. You need that candy bar, that soda now. But if you eliminate that initial huge sugar spike,
You don't get the massive insulin flood.
bingo. No massive insulin surge means no overshoot, no crash into low blood sugar later on.
So you just break the cycle.
You fundamentally break the mechanism that drives that craving loop. The cravings simply don't get triggered in the same way.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Just understanding that mechanism makes it feel less like a personal failing,
Absolutely. It's physiology, not just willpower.
Okay, so if the cravings diminish,
Yeah.
the next logical step seems to be just being less hungry overall. Is that right?
That's exactly what the sources highlight. And it often surprises people.
How so?
They go from constantly thinking about food, needing snacks all the time,
Yeah, that 3 p.m. slump where you need something sweet.
right to feeling,
Hmm.
well, just regulated, satiated for hours after eating a proper meal, much less overall hunger.
Why does that happen? Is it just the lack of the sugar crash driving hunger?
That's a big part of it, but it's also about overall blood sugar stability. Think about it. Sugar keeps you bouncing between highs and lows. That's volatile fuel. When you remove it, your blood sugar levels stabilize dramatically. They stay in a much narrower, healthier range.
And stable blood sugar means no emergency signals.
Exactly. The constant chaotic signaling for hunger just quiets down. The body isn't in that perpetual state of perceived
So
crisis.
you're not getting tricked into thinking you're starving an hour after you ate.
Precisely. You achieve a kind of metabolic calm, an equilibrium. And that lets you actually tune into your real hunger signals, not just these hormonal distress calls.
So it's not about ignoring hunger. It's about finally hearing the right signals.
You got it.
Okay, so regulating the internal chemistry stops the false alarms. That makes sense. But you mentioned for this stability to really stick, there's something deeper we need to address. Insulin resistance.
Yes. That's kind of the foundation that needs repairing. Before you can really enjoy all these benefits, the body often has to reverse the damage from years of sugar overload at the cellular level.
Okay.
And we need to shift how we think about this. The sources are really clear. Sustained high levels of sugar in the blood, they're actually toxic to the body.
Toxic. That sounds strong. We eat sugar all the time. How is it toxic?
Well, toxic in the sense that the body perceives it as a chronic threat when levels are persistently high. Think about your bloodstream. High glucose concentration starts to damage things, like the delicate linings of your blood vessels, the cellular machinery itself. It causes oxidative stress, inflammation. It's like constantly pouring a mild corrosive into your internal plumbing.
Okay, that's a worrying image.
It is. And insulin resistance, it's actually the body's defense mechanism against this. It's brilliant in a way.
A defense? How? I thought it was the problem.
It becomes a problem, but it starts as a defense. To limit the damage from all that sugar trying to force its way in, the cells they start resisting. They build up defenses against insulin's signal. They essentially start locking the gates to prevent too much sugar getting inside and causing havoc.
So they're rejecting the sugar,
Yeah.
blocking insulin to limit the intake.
Exactly. They're trying to protect their internal environment from being overwhelmed by glucose.
No. Okay, that is a total reframing. We always hear about insulin resistance like it's a failure of the system.
Right. But it's more like an act of self-preservation against what the body sees as a poison when it's chronically high.
That's the aha moment, isn't it? The body isn't happily absorbing sugar. It sees constant high levels as a threat it needs to limit.
Precisely. It's a defense against systemic overload.
Okay, so if you take away the threat, the constant sugar influx for 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
the body can start to lower its defenses.
That's exactly it. The need for that extreme defense drops. The cells become less resistant. Insulin resistance can actually start to reverse, and quite quickly sometimes.
The cellular gates unlock.
Sort of, yeah. They become more receptive to insulin again, and this is crucial because it means the cells can finally absorb the right amount of fuel again. Your whole metabolism starts running more efficiently.
Like tuning up an engine that's been sputtering along.
Good analogy. Exactly like that. But it's not just about fuel.
Oh. What else gets through?
This is key. Insulin resistance doesn't just block excess sugar, it also messes with the absorption of essential nutrients.
Like vitamins and minerals.
Yes, things like magnesium, potassium, certain vitamins. Insulin actually plays a role in helping transport these vital components into the cells. When you're resistant, you block the good stuff too. So reversing resistance means better absorption of everything.
So you're getting more bang for your buck from the healthy food you were eating.
Precisely. You're finally absorbing the components needed for, well, everything. Muscle function, nerve signals, your immune system.
Wow. Okay. And this whole cellular cleanup and improved absorption, does that tie into the next effect? The post-meal fatigue, that dreaded food coma.
Directly. Key effect number 3, eliminating that awful tiredness after eating. It's such a common complaint.
Oh, yeah. Lunchtime hits, you eat, and then bam, you just want to nap at your desk.
Yep.
Why does sugar do that to us?
Couple of reasons, really. First, the brain itself gets tired. High sugar levels directly cause oxidative stress and inflammation in the brain.
So it's like overloading the brain circuits.
Kind of, yeah. Performance drops. But second, there's the metabolic drag. Your body's working overtime, pumping out insulin, trying to manage that sugar crisis. That takes a huge amount of energy and resources, diverting them away from, say, staying focused and alert.
So the brain is literally inflamed, and the body's energy is being hijacked to deal with the sugar. No wonder we feel wiped out.
Exactly. But when you stabilize your blood sugar, none of that happens.
No huge spikes, no massive insulin response.
Right. The brain isn't being stressed and inflamed. The body isn't diverting all its resources. So that crushing fatigue after meals, it just doesn't happen.
People just feel awake, alert.
Awake, alert, stable energy. It's one of the most immediate and noticeable improvements people report, a real upgrade in daily energy and focus.
Okay, that's a huge quality of life improvement right there. Now, once that internal stuff starts stabilizing, people often notice pretty dramatic visible changes, right? And fast.
Oh, yeah. This brings us to key effect number 4, rapid loss of water and fat, and the emphasis is on rapid, especially at first.
The sources mentioned some pretty surprising numbers for the first week.
But they did. The initial phase, usually the first 7 days or so, is dominated by losing retained water. A lot of water.
How much are we talking?
It varies, of course, but some sources mention people losing up to, get this, 13 pounds of fluid in 1 week.
13 pounds.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Where is all that water coming from? Why are we holding on to it?
It comes back to insulin again. High insulin levels basically tell your kidneys to hang on to sodium.
Okay. And you know the saying, where sodium goes, water follows. So high insulin means high sodium retention, which means your body holds on to excess water, like a sponge.
So lower the sugar, lower the insulin.
And the kidneys get the signal to release all that stored sodium, and the water just flushes out. Whoosh.
Wow. So that initial dramatic weight drop is mostly water leaving the system?
Primarily, yes. And it gives you a stark picture of the internal bloat the body was carrying just to cope with the sugar load.
Is holding on to that much extra fluid actually bad for you? Or just uncomfortable?
Oh, it's definitely not healthy. The sources point out that carrying that excess fluid puts extra strain on your entire cardiovascular system, especially the heart.
So shedding that water isn't just about looking less puffy, it's actually taking pressure off your heart and blood vessels.
Exactly. It's a significant health win right out of the gate, relieving pressure on vital organs.
Okay, so week 1 is the gray water purge. What happens after that? Does the weight loss slow down? Shift? It usually slows a bit, yes, because the big water drop is done, but then the body pivots more towards actual sustainable fat loss.
Why then? What's changed?
Remember the insulin resistance starting to reverse? The cellular gates opening up?
Yeah.
Well, now the body can more efficiently access its stored fat reserves for energy. It's not constantly being fed sugar drip, so it has to tap into the fat stores.
So fat burning ramps up after the first week.
Generally, yes. The focus shifts from water loss to fat metabolism.
And is there a way to know this is happening besides the scale?
Absolutely. The best indicator, often better than the scale, is how your clothes fit, especially around your middle.
The gut, the waistline.
Exactly. That's a key area. Reducing sugar often causes the stomach area to visibly shrink, while eating lots of sugar tends to cause it to expand.
Why the belly specifically? Is that where sugar-related fat likes to hang out?
Very much so. That abdominal fat, especially the deep visceral fat around your organs, is strongly linked to sugar and refined carb intake. It's often a direct sign of fat building up inside the liver.
Fatty liver? You can see signs of that on the outside.
Often, yes. A significantly protruding belly, even if someone isn't overweight elsewhere, can be an indicator of fatty liver. So as that visceral fat starts getting burned off, the midsection shrinks. It's reflecting a healthier liver.
That's fascinating. A visible sign of internal organ health improving.
It really is.
Okay, so beyond the waistline shrinking, what about the skin? You hear people say their skin clears up. Is that real? Effect number 6.
Absolutely real. Skin improvement and better hormone balance go hand in hand. People often report their skin just looks better, healthier, glowy even, less acne, less redness.
That seems like a nice bonus, but does it signal something deeper?
Oh, absolutely. Your skin is like a mirror reflecting your internal hormonal environment. And sugar profoundly impacts hormones.
How so? We talked about insulin.
Right. And insulin doesn't work in isolation. It interacts heavily with your sex hormones, estrogen, testosterone, and related hormones.
And this affects men and women differently. The sources mention that.
Correct. Let's take females first. When insulin levels are high from lots of sugar, it can cause the ovaries to produce more androgens hormones like testosterone.
Which are typically higher in males.
Exactly. And these elevated androgens in women can directly drive up sebum production in the skin, cause inflammation, leading straight to acne.
So less sugar, lower insulin, lower androgens, potentially clearer skin.
That's the connection. It can happen remarkably quickly for some women.
Okay, and what about in males? How does the sugar-insulin connection affect them hormonally?
It's almost the opposite effect, but still problematic. In men, high insulin levels tend to lower testosterone levels.
Lower testosterone. That sounds bad.
It is. It's linked to fatigue, loss of muscle mass, low mood, low libido, a whole host of issues. There's a strong link shown between a high sugar intake and suppressed testosterone.
So quitting sugar can actually help restore healthier testosterone levels in men.
It helps by removing that suppressive effect of high insulin. It allows the whole endocrine system to find a better balance.
Wow. That level of hormonal rebalancing just from cutting out sugar for 2 weeks is pretty incredible.
The body's amazing at finding equilibrium once you remove the major disruptor.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. From the physical, visible changes to the mental and cognitive ones. This is huge for you, the learner, right? Getting more brain power. Key effect number 5.
Yes, the cognitive upgrade. And it starts with mood.
Mood. How does sugar affect mood so much? Besides the temporary high, I mean.
It's that roller coaster again. The blood sugar swings directly impact brain function and neurotransmitters. Highs can cause agitation, lows can cause irritability, anxiety.
So you feel kind of grouchy, stressed, on edge.
Exactly. But when you stabilize blood sugar by cutting the sugar, that emotional roller coaster flattens out. People report feeling noticeably calmer, less stressed, less reactive.
The sources actually said, nice to be around.
Chuckle slightly. Yeah, that sums it up pretty well sometimes. You achieve a more stable emotional baseline.
Okay, so better mood, less stress. That's great. But what about actual brain function? Focus, concentration, memory.
That's where the really exciting stuff happens for learners. When the brain isn't constantly dealing with glucose spikes and crashes, its performance becomes much more consistent. Sharper focus, better concentration. People find they can stick with tasks longer. That feeling of being scattered, maybe even symptoms associated with ADD or ADHD, can significantly decrease.
So sustained mental energy, basically.
Sustained mental clarity and energy, yes. Unlocked simply by stabilizing the brain's fuel supply.
But you mentioned it's not just about removing the bad fuel.
Yeah.
There's something else happening, something about ketones.
Yes. Now we get into the really fascinating part, the fuel switch.
Okay.
See, when you drastically cut sugar and carbs, your body needs an alternative fuel. It starts breaking down fat, And the liver converts fatty acids into molecules called ketones.
Ketones, I've heard of those.
Yeah.
Like in the keto diet.
Exactly. And the primary ketone, beta hydroxybutyrate, or BHB, is an amazing fuel source for the brain.
Better than glucose.
Many argue yes. Think of glucose as maybe standard gasoline. It works, but it can be a bit dirty, cause some engine gunk inflammation, oxidative stress. Ketones, especially BHB, are more like high-octane, clean-burning fuel. They produce fewer damaging byproducts.
So a cleaner energy source for the brain means less mental fog.
Less fog, more stable energy. But here's the coolest part. BHB isn't just fuel.
What else is it?
It's also a signaling molecule. It actually influences gene expression. And the sources indicate it actively supports the growth of new nerve cells.
Wait, it helps grow new brain cells.
And supports existing ones.
Yeah.
The process is called neurogenesis. Ketones seem to encourage it.
So cutting sugar doesn't just stop damaging the brain. Switching to ketones might actually help build and repair it.
That's the really profound implication, yes. Promoting neural resilience, potentially improving learning and memory capacity at a structural level, all by changing your fuel source.
That is truly remarkable. That's a serious upgrade.
It really is. And this internal fuel change and cellular repair link directly to our next point, key effect number 7, reducing inflammation systemically.
Right? Inflammation. We hear that word everywhere now. How does quitting sugar help with that overall inflammation?
Massively. Chronic low-grade inflammation is linked to almost every major disease, and sugar is a huge driver of it.
No. What's the mechanism?
Remember we talked about high glucose damaging blood vessels? Well, glucose also sticks to proteins and fats in your body in a process called glycation. This creates these harmful molecules, often called AGEs, advanced glycation end products.
AGs. Like
Wait,
aging.
Exactly. They contribute to aging and damage, and these AGEs are highly inflammatory. The immune system sees them as foreign invaders and attacks, creating inflammation.
So it's like friendly fire inside your body triggered by sugar.
In a sense, yes. This leads to that generalized stiffness, joint pain, aches, that feeling of just being inflamed that people often blame on getting older.
But it might actually be the sugar.
Sugar is a major, major contributor. So cut the sugar, you drastically reduce the production of these inflammatory AGEs.
And the background noise of inflammation just quiets down. Less stiffness, less pain.
That's what people typically experience. But the most crucial benefit of reducing this inflammation is inside your arteries.
Cardiovascular health again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Inflammation in the artery linings, the endothelium, is the first step towards plaque buildup, atherosclerosis, clots.
Which lead to heart attacks and strokes.
Correct. So reducing that inflammation by cutting sugar is directly helping to keep your arteries healthier and reducing your long-term risk of those catastrophic events. It's deep preventative medicine.
Wow. Okay, so we've talked about the benefits, less craving, fat loss, better mood, focus, less inflammation. But let's get practical.
Yep.
You mentioned the fuel conversion. Switching from sugar to fat burning, that takes time, right? And it's not always fun.
Right. This is critical to understand. The body doesn't just flip a switch instantly. This conversion process, really kicking into efficient fat burning and ketone production, typically takes about 3 days. 3 days of consistently low carb and sugar intake.
And those 3 days, they can be tough, the keto flu.
They can be. This is the hurdle where many people stumble if they don't know what's happening. Symptoms might actually feel worse for a short period.
Like what?
Headaches, fatigue, irritability, maybe some brain fog. It feels like withdrawal because, well, it kind of is. Your body is screaming for its usual quick fix glucose.
So why does it feel so bad? What's the body actually doing?
2 main things are going on. First, remember that water dump. You're losing electrolytes like sodium and potassium rapidly along with the water. That imbalance causes headaches and fatigue.
Ah, okay. Dehydration and mineral loss.
Yes. And second, your body literally hasn't built the machinery yet to run efficiently on fat. It's like trying to run a gasoline car on diesel before you've converted the engine. It sputters.
So it's a temporary inefficiency during the retooling phase.
Exactly. It's a sign that the change is happening, that your body is adapting. It's a symptom of success, not failure, even though it feels lousy.
Okay, that perspective is key. But is there anything you can do to make those 3 days easier?
Absolutely. The sources are clear on this. You can mitigate most of the discomfort.
Oh?
Well, primarily by managing electrolytes. Really focus on getting enough salt, potassium, and magnesium. Potassium is crucial maybe from leafy greens or supplements. Magnesium helps too. And staying really well hydrated. Also, some find B vitamins helpful during the transition. Nutritional yeast is a good source. These basically support the energy production pathways as they adapt.
So electrolytes, hydration, maybe some B vitamins can make it relatively smooth.
It can make a huge difference. Much smoother sailing through those first 72 hours. Totally manageable if you're prepared.
And what's happening inside on a cellular level during that time, you said building machinery.
Literally. Your cells, particularly in your liver and muscles, are busy synthesizing new enzymes. These are the tools needed to break down fatty acids and create ketones efficiently. Your mitochondria, the little power plants in your cells, are adapting. They're switching their primary fuel intake from glucose pathways to fat-burning pathways. It's a construction zone down there.
Changing the factory's production line from gasoline to biodiesel.
Perfect analogy. It takes about 3 days to get the main conversion done. Once it's done, the efficiency jumps way up.
Okay, so once you're past that hump and the body is happily burning fat, what happens in the major organs? Like the liver and kidneys. You mentioned the liver earlier with belly fat.
Yes. Let's talk liver first. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, is incredibly common now, largely driven by sugar and refined carbs.
Fat literally building up inside the liver.
Exactly. But once your body becomes fat adapted and needs fat for fuel, guess where it can get some?
From the fat stored in the liver.
Precisely. The body starts mobilizing that stored liver fat, breaking it down, and using it for energy. You are actively starting to reverse fatty liver disease during these 14 days. It's a process called autophagy kicking into, the body cleaning out damaged or unnecessary components, including excess fat buildup. It's like an internal spring cleaning for your liver.
And that connects back to the shrinking waistline we talked about.
Directly. Reducing liver fat often leads to a visible reduction in that specific abdominal protrusion.
Amazing. What about the kidneys? They take a beating with blood sugar issues, right?
They really do. Kidneys are all about filtration. Constantly high blood sugar forces them to work way too hard, trying to filter all that excess glucose out.
Overworking the filters.
Essentially, yes, the delicate filtering units, the glomeruli, get damaged over time. This is why kidney disease is such a common complication of diabetes.
So reducing sugar gives the kidneys a break.
A huge break. Lowering blood sugar reduces that hyperfiltration stress immediately. Kidney function tends to improve significantly when sugar and carb intake drops. You're taking a massive load off these vital organs.
Okay, this is quite a list. An incredible range of changes in just 14 days. Let's just recap quickly. We've got stabilizing blood sugar, ending cravings, less hunger overall.
Reversing insulin resistance, improving nutrient absorption.
Getting rid of post-meal fatigue, that rapid water, and then fat loss, especially around the middle.
Better skin, hormone balance improving for both men and women.
And then the big ones. Better mood, way better focus and concentration, maybe even support for new brain cell growth.
Reduced inflammation throughout the body, helping joints and, crucially, arteries.
And finally, starting to clean out the liver, improve kidney function.
It's a full system reset, all triggered by removing one thing.
It really underscores how disruptive sugar is to our natural state. The proof really is in the pudding, isn't it? Maybe not the best phrase here.
Shuckles. Perhaps stick with the results being evident.
Right, the results are evident.
Yeah.
And for you, the learner listening to this, think about the application. Imagine having that stable energy, that enhanced focus, No more brain fog after lunch, just more mental capacity for learning, for tackling complex problems, for handling whatever life throws at you.
That sustained cognitive power, especially when fueled by those clean-burning ketones, is potentially transformative. And remember, we talked about how ketones aren't just fuel, they support nerve cell health and growth, neurogenesis.
Yeah, that was mind-blowing.
Well, that leads to a final thought, maybe something for you to chew on, so to speak.
Okay.
If just 2 weeks of changing our fuel source can start to stimulate neural growth and enhance brain resilience, what's the ultimate potential? What happens to our cognitive abilities, our memory, our ability to adapt and learn if we consistently choose ketones, as the primary engine for our brain instead of relying on sugar?
What is the upper limit of our mental performance when properly fueled?
Exactly, this 2 week reset, it might just be the very beginning of discovering your true cognitive potential, a fascinating possibility to explore.